All right, let's begin this debrief. There are certain assets in the US military that are designed to be, well, basically invisible. They're never supposed to be seen, and certainly never supposed to be used. Today, we're taking a deep dive into one of them, the E-4B Night Watch. You might know it by its more famous nickname, the Doomsday plane.
So, our story doesn't start in some secret bunker or a remote airbase. Nope. It starts right out in the open, at one of the busiest airports on the planet, Los Angeles International, LAX. Not too long ago, a very unusual aircraft touched down there, and it immediately got people talking and asking a whole lot of questions online.
And that really is the central question, isn't it? The E-4B is specifically designed to stay off the radar, to avoid public view. So why on earth did this flying command center, a literal symbol of national emergency, show up at a civilian airport in Los Angeles?
Okay, so first things first, let's just break down the event. This was not a routine flight, and as you're about to see, its very unusual path across the country only made the whole situation that much more mysterious.
If we look at the flight tracking data, the journey started at Offutt Air Force Base in Nebraska. Now, that part makes sense. Offutt is home to U.S. Strategic Command, and it's the home base for the entire E-4B fleet. So a standard origin, but the flight path that followed was anything but.
From Nebraska, the plane flew east, making a stop in Camp Springs, Maryland. For those of you who don't know, that's right on the doorstep of Washington, D.C. This stopover, so close to the nation's capital, adds a pretty significant layer to this whole cross-country trip. And then finally, it flew all the way across the country to LAX. Now, the Pentagon did eventually say that the Secretary of Defense was on board, heading to the Indo-Pacific, but that clarification didn't really answer the main question: why use this specific high-security aircraft for what sounds like a routine transport flight?
And this right here is the crucial point. That official silence, that ambiguity, it's part of the protocol. The fact that the Pentagon wouldn't explain why this plane was used just reinforces how sensitive this asset really is. To get the full picture, we really need to understand the aircraft itself.
So let's shift gears from the sighting to the aircraft itself. What exactly is the E-4B Night Watch? Well, its official name is the National Airborne Operations Center, or NAOC. To put it simply, it's a flying command post. Think of it as a mobile Pentagon, designed to keep the president and top military leaders safe and in command during the absolute worst-case scenario you can imagine, like a nuclear attack. And get this, the entire fleet consists of just 4 of these planes. 4, that's it. That extreme rarity really tells you everything you need to know about their strategic value. Each one is an absolutely critical national asset. So what makes it so special? I mean, at its core, it's a militarized Boeing 747, but its real value is in the modifications. It's hardened against an electromagnetic pulse, an EMP, the kind of thing that would fry all normal electronics after a nuclear blast. It's packed with advanced communication systems that can bypass any destroyed infrastructure on the ground. And with in-flight refueling, it can stay in the air for days on end, making sure that command and control is never, ever broken. All of these unique capabilities, they all serve one single mission: to ensure the continuity of command. See, the E-4B isn't just an airplane. It's a system built to guarantee that the U.S. government survives. Let me put it as plainly as possible. The E-4B exists to make sure that even if the Pentagon, the White House, and every other command center on the ground is turned to dust, the chain of command remains intact. It ensures the government can still function and direct a response from the sky. So how would that actually work? Well, once a national emergency is declared and command centers on the ground are compromised, the E-4B becomes the primary operations hub. The leadership on that plane would assume full control of the entire U.S. military, making sure that a so-called decapitation strike could never succeed. And on the inside, this thing is not a passenger jet. It's a flying headquarters. The main deck is split into different areas. You've got a command work area for the senior leaders, secure conference rooms for briefings, and a massive communications hub run by a joint service operations team. It is, in every sense of the word, the Pentagon in the sky. But when you talk about all this incredible capability, it's really easy to misunderstand the plane's ultimate purpose. Its role isn't offensive, it's defensive. You have to think of it as a shield, not a sword. The common misconception is that this is some kind of weapon of war, a tool designed to start a conflict. The reality is the complete opposite.
The E-4B is an instrument of deterrence. Its very existence is a message to any adversary that no matter what you do, you can't win by launching a surprise first strike, because a response is always possible.
And that brings us to a final, really profound question. This is a system built to function in the aftermath of a catastrophe we can barely imagine. It exists to prevent that exact same catastrophe through the logic of deterrence. So, does knowing that a system like this is always ready, always circling somewhere out there, does it actually make us safer? That's the paradox right at the heart of the Doomsday plane.